One of the things that I've noticed about midlife women who are searching for their calling is they are at the same time dismissing all of their lived experience, which is their qualifications, their expertise. So, we're listening to podcasts, we're taking courses, we're praying to God, but we are forgetting, not recognizing, or valuing all the life experience we have. And we're doing that because we're living in it and we just think it's normal and everybody goes through it. They're overlooking this leadership experience they've just had for decades. What they've built, what they've survived, the resilience, all of it. Then they tell themselves, I'm not confident enough. I can't do it. I don't have the skills. I think that's actually backwards. I think we have it backwards because confidence doesn't come first. Confidence comes when we start to trust what we've already earned, the authority that we've established, the leadership that's come from our life experience. I want to talk about this issue about confidence and how I think many of us are missing the mark when it has nothing to do with confidence, or at least not at first. It has something to do with what I call authority reps. Because this one shift, this one understanding of what authority reps actually are, can change everything for you, your calling, your purpose, and figuring out what you're meant to do next. Hey, I'm Christine Burke. Welcome back to this week's show on YouTube. I help faith-fueled women stop underestimating their leadership, their lived experience, and I help them build their calling for more income and more impact and for Him. So if you're in a season of transitioning, midlife reinvention, if you're feeling restless, if you know that you're meant for more, but you don't know how to figure out what that is, you're definitely in the right place. And so make sure you subscribe to the channel so you can get notified every time I upload a training. We have conversations here all about midlife leadership, finding your faith in your calling, and being able to step into what God wants you to be in this second act. Okay, so this first part is about the confidence myth. Okay, so confidence is such a catchy word. I put it in the title because it's like heavily CE, it's heavily SEO. It's a searchable word, confidence, right? Everyone's looking for more confidence. I want to be confident, and as I hope you are a Christian woman, or maybe you're exploring your faith, you'll understand that confidence is a bit of a funky word, right? We actually want to have confidence in Him and what He has planned for us, but nonetheless it is a bit of a myth and it's something that we struggle with. And here's the issue: confidence does not come first. Action creates confidence. So one of the biggest things that God is telling me right now is to move. He keeps saying, Christine, move, 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 right? So, I sat in a waiting season for so long, and then I legit heard him say move. And I understood what he meant, that we don't, he doesn't want us to sit around and wait to feel confident. The feelings of confidence come when we move, when we take action, when we do things. So if you're already an entrepreneur, for example, and you're thinking about pivoting, you got to do something. You got to put an offer out there. You got to launch something. Maybe it's a digital product, like whatever it is for you. Maybe you want to be a public speaker, you want to speak. You got to take the next step and, figure out if you can be a guest on someone's podcast. Get out there and ask, do a Facebook Live, maybe start some sort of local event where you are there speaking. And we do these things even though we don't feel ready and we don't feel confident. And this is also relevant to our personal lives and our everyday lives. Let's talk about boundaries for a minute. Setting boundaries is really important, especially for women in midlife that are carrying a lot. We're carrying teenagers, we're carrying the empty nesting. Many of us are facing retirement. Many of us have struggles in our relationships, in our marriages. Many of us are caring for aging parents, and boundaries and the setting of boundaries is absolutely critical, but it can feel uncomfortable, right? And so we can't wait around until we feel good or confident enough. We have to just go ahead and set the damn boundary. So I think I told this story last week or the week before. I remember the first time I went live on Facebook. And so since then, I think I probably have, I don't know, 2,000 lives, something like that. But the first time I went live, I had just seen a woman, a stay at home mom, just like me, go live with a Chewbacca mask on. I know, it was so funny. But she had this video went viral, and I was like, oh, cool. I'm going to try that. And we had this Darth Vader mask as part of our, dress up collection at home for the kids. And so I put that dang mask on and I did my very first live with the Darth Vader mask on. And of course, nobody watched, but it did demonstrate to me that, hey, that wasn't so bad. I know you're probably thinking, how could you possibly not feel bad about doing like a Facebook Live with a Darth Vader mask on? But it proved to me that, hey, that was a muscle I just flexed. That was a rep that I just took. That was action that I knew I had to keep doing. And that was what kicked off me going live every day for months and months. Confidence isn't the prerequisite, it's the result. So we need to take action before we feel ready. Now, maybe you're sitting there and you're thinking, wow, this is me. There's so many things that I need to take action on, but I'm not. And you're probably right. And I think it's something deeper that we need to consider. So, why does your experience feel ordinary to you? Because you've owned it. You're in it. You lived it, right? So, it's what I said at the beginning, all of the things, the aging parents, the teenagers, the the degree you went and got while you were working and raising children. That's what my mom did. All of these things become familiar, we live in it, and then the familiarity of it all makes us feel good and gives us value, but we don't recognize it as expertise. And this is how God prepares us for this calling, right? He puts us through these challenges, many of which are leadership challenges. He does that because he loves us, right? He wants us to grow and move and step forward through it. So for me, I chose to be a stay-at-home mom. I have 2 degrees. I got a master's degree. I was all ready to go and get the big career and be in the workplace. And I had my first kid, did a little bit of consulting on the side and thought, nah, I'm not going back to a job. I want to be at home. I want to raise my children. And at the time, that just kind of felt normal to me because a lot of my mom friends were, in fact, stay-at-home moms too. But at some point, they all went back to work. And I thought, no, I'm not going to do that. And what ended up happening is that it gave me the time to actually start building something of my own and learning how to be an entrepreneur. I did my videos when my kids were napping. I took courses and studied things at nighttime. And what I had thought was just a regular thing, I realized that was actually the opportunity to take me into my greatest leadership experience ever, and then subsequently into entrepreneurship and where I am now. So remember, the things that change you are often the things that qualify you. So the challenges, the obstacles are what qualifies you. And what you feel is an ordinary experience that you have gone through can be absolutely inspirational and helpful and life changing for somebody else. And so maybe you're thinking, oh my gosh, I never thought about it that way. Well, that is where the confusion lies between confidence and authority. And I don't mean like police authority or government authority. I mean your authority. So many women don't have a confidence problem, they have an authority recognition problem. Authority recognition problem. Authority is earned through life experience. It is not arrogant. It is not being boastful. Maybe we look for validation before every single decision that we make. That's definitely something I know you can relate to. I certainly do. And so an example would be Mary, the mother of Jesus, when Gabriel told her that she would bear the Son of God. Her words were exasperation. How can that be? Like, she doesn't see herself as the one who is going to be in one of the most pivotal roles in all of history. So, authority is not about knowing everything, it's about using what you know. It's about giving credibility and value to your lived experience. And we know this with God, right? He doesn't call all the perfect people. There are no perfect people, right? But he qualifies the called, right? He knows he's going to prepare you before he calls you. So this is where the authority reps come into play. And some principles here are authority reps is discipline, right? It's about the small things, the small reps that you take every single day. It's those actions that I talked about in the first part. And this is where we build the self trust, right? The self trust is built through repetition, and the repetition is what creates change. And the change that's created is the identity that you are stepping into in order for you to fulfill this calling that you're seeking. And so every time you follow through on an authority rep, you're telling your brain, I say this to clients all the time, you're telling your brain, and you are actually selling your brain. You're telling your brain and selling your brain, I got this. I can do this. I do this. So, quick example, I have been training, gosh, for almost 20 years now, was never really like super fit until I met my husband, who's incredibly fit. Anyway, I started when my kids were little at home in the living room with a few weights, and it's a 5 to 6 day thing for me, and I don't even need to think about it. You don't need to say, "Oh, get to the gym," and I don't need to watch YouTube videos to pump me up to get to the gym. I just go. It's an authority rep that I have trained legit almost every single day for the last 20 years. And so the challenge is, I just hit on it there, is that the authority reps, we don't practice them long enough for them to become solid. And so many of us will take on a new authority rep, which is a habit, but I like calling it authority rep because that's what it is. You are building your authority through the small daily actions you are taking, right? But many of us do it once, right? We might speak once and then we let it go. Or we set a boundary once and then we go back to saying yes to everyone and everything, right? And that's a really important one, because what we don't want to do is say yes to things that compromise the promises that we have made to ourselves and to him around maybe rest. That's really, really important. So the issue, of course, is that it feels uncomfortable. Guess what? Change feels uncomfortable. And for midlife women, sometimes I have to scratch my head. I think we're Gen Xers. We get it. We've done the hard things, right? We've survived so many things, raising children, keeping marriages together, all of it. We can do the hard things. And that feeling of discomfort is simply an indication that you are growing. And, you know, God is not all sunshine and rainbows. He's not here to make your life all like plushy and comfortable. He's here to give us peace, but to steer us where he wants us to go. And unfortunately or fortunately, a big part of that is going to be authority reps that make us feel uncomfortable at first. So, this is why I created this week's resource of the week. I'm actually calling it the Midlife CEO Clarity Vault now, because that's why I'm creating these resources to help give you clarity on this path to finding your calling. So, this week's authority reps framework, what did I call it here? authority reps tracker. And this is the whole thing, right? If we're talking about authority reps being successful when we do them over and over and over again, right? It's helpful to have a tracker. So that's what I created for you today. Inside the tracker, there are 21 examples. Yes, 21 of that's 3 weeks worth of authority reps. So the tracker is designed to help you with self-trust, confidence, and leadership through the everyday decisions that you are making. So today I want you to recognize like what's one area that you've been kind of sitting on and you've been waiting to make a decision on, or something you need to change, or something that you need to step out and do. And I want you to think about, what is the authority rep that I need to practice in order for me to move forward with this thing. So comment the word reps below if this idea of authority reps has moved you, resonated with you, and if you have an authority rep to share. Maybe you're like, oh my gosh, I do this authority rep every single day. I want to know. I'm in the comments. Happy to have conversations here about this very important topic. And also, so you can actually access all of these resources. So every week I create a resource of the week and it goes into my Clarity Vault. It's free. You can access it with a link in the comments. And I am running a masterclass coming up soon called the Midlife CEO Commissioning Blueprint. So this is going to actually give you a framework, a decision-making framework to help you figure out what God is calling you to do. You don't need to become confident and then trust yourself. Okay. We need to practice the authority reps, which builds the self-trust and then the confidence so that we can move forward with what, God is calling us to do, and identify all the things that we really want to do, who we want to serve, the value that we want to create, and the income that we want to make. So this woman, she's built through repetition, one day at a time, one authority rep at a time. I hope you enjoyed today's video. Don't forget to subscribe, and we'll see you next week.